You're listening to
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
the Sports Fellas Podcast.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy Andres. We are back with episode number 65 of the Sports Fellas Podcast. And for the first time ever, our guest has appeared in back-to-back episodes. But before we get to him, Eric, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm excited to see this. You know, he's gonna cook a little bit.
That was a great intro. Come on now.
Yeah, that was. I'm excited to see what he has to say. Yeah, I don't got much to say. I mean, I'm excited. It's a 3-day weekend coming up, Memorial Day. I'm going to Six Flags this weekend, so that should be fun. But yeah, I'm just excited to see what's about to happen in the next 10 minutes right here.
Yeah, not to start with the negative note, but Eric, thoughts and prayers with Houston. I mean, you guys have been hit by everything in the last 7 years: hurricanes, tropical storms, tornadoes, like legit everything. But I'm glad you're doing well, and I'm glad, like, hopefully the people around you are good as well. But
yeah, it was wild. Like, I mean, even by my work, like, almost all the fast food places people usually go to during lunch and stuff, like, they're all still like shut down because they had like water damage or stuff. Like, it's just, my parents just got power back yesterday. I was over there Friday morning last week helping them like at 7:30 a.m. when I was supposed to be at work, which we didn't have power, so I couldn't really go. But whenever it was 7:30 a.m., I'm over there in boots just helping them clean up, because it took us, our driveway back home is laid out where it's like there's trees on both sides, like going all the way down. God. And our driveway is like 1/6 of a mile, so it's kind of long. It took us like 3 hours just to clear out the driveway so you could drive up and down it. And then my dad has a vineyard. Our neighbor's roof on their shed, the roof literally came off and just pretty much wiped out the vineyard.
Jeez.
So like, a lot of shit. My dad was talking about, he's like, I think it's gonna be a full year before we are done dealing with the damages from this. Like, it's going to take a long time because just so much shit happened.
Yeah, like, I dealt with Katrina. Obviously, Katrina wasn't as bad in Miami as it was in like New Orleans, but Katrina was terrible, bro. Like, I remember everything, man. Like, it's just one of those events that, like, you remember where you were. I was 6 years old, 7 years old when it happened, but like, I still remember everything about Katrina, man. So, well, thoughts and prayers. I'm glad you're good. I'm glad your family is good. But
sure.
Our special guest does not need an introduction today, but my guy Diyab, man, bro, we've been friends for like 4 or 5 years now. I think this might be our 4th NBA Finals together. But how you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I would have said great, but last night happened. You guys caught me just a day late, man. If I was here, I would have been crazy. A couple days ago, I would have been talking my shit, but now I'm just back. I'm somewhat calm, somewhat normal, but we'll see.
You're funny.
I love it.
But ladies and gentlemen, today we are here to talk about the second round of the NBA playoffs. The NFL schedule finally got released. It's like Christmas, and the Champions League final is only 9 days away. But nonetheless, let's get straight into it. First, before Diyab goes on his rant about defeating the Denver Nuggets, I want to talk about the Indiana Pacers, right? Tyrese Halliburton to start the year was a walking 25-12. He got Chris Paul comparisons. Look it up on Twitter. I'm not blabbering. He got Chris Paul comparisons. Then the Pacers whooped the Celtics ass in the in-season tournament. Went to the in-season tournament final. Well, he whooped the Bucks ass, and then they got smoked by the Lakers. Halliburton picked up a hammy injury. Hammy injuries stink. He was playing like mediocre for a couple of months. I don't know what you guys think. Obviously, people have the perspective of, if you're on the court, you're expected to do well, and then there's the people that say he's injured, right? So obviously his play wasn't as good. He was slacking. Coming to the playoffs, first game against the Bucks, obviously the lights got too bright for them, but then they pulled it off in 6. Whether or not Dame was healthy, whether or not Giannis was healthy, I think the Pacers haven't done anything in terms of like things that hurt them, right? They have to play who's in front of them. So the Bucks hiring Doc, Dame being hurt with his Achilles, Giannis being injured with his calf, I don't think that's their fault. So a lot of people that are saying, oh, it's a Mickey Mouse run for the Pacers, well, guess what? Health is wealth. The Pacers are healthy. They're in the Eastern Conference Finals. No, there's nothing they can do. And another thing I want to talk about before I keep on ranting, the New York Knicks, they had a phenomenal year. I don't think there's anyone that expected them to get this far. Injuries decimated them. And I know there's no ifs in sports, but if the Knicks were healthy, I think they probably would have beaten the Pacers. Not probably, hopefully they would have. But the facts are the facts, right? Jalen Brunson did not show up in Game 6. He didn't show up until he fractured his hand in Game 7. But nonetheless, phenomenal year for the Knicks. Congrats to Jalen Brunson on being second team All-NBA for those of you that care about those awards. And like I said, I really don't think the Pacers are in the wrong here in just being healthy. And congrats to them on making the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 10 years. So, Eric, with all that being said about me blabbering, what do you think about this Knicks Pacers series?
I feel like the problem with this just kind of became, like we said, was whoever won this, everyone was just kind of like, Celtics are going to beat them, which might be true, but like I feel like you kind of have to respect, in a way, Knicks. They didn't have Julius Randle. They didn't have some players, and they still managed to get to this point, put on a good series and everything. They had some injuries, but they still managed to put up a good fight and show up when they needed to. Fell a little short. Jalen Brunson, that man is certified, though.
Bro, he was phenomenal. He was phenomenal.
He's and you have to also, I think, give it to the Pacers. Like, you can argue, they're not that good. They just got lucky. I respect a team, though, who goes and makes win-now moves, because they think they have a window, and they did that with the Pascal Siakam trade and other moves. Like, they thought they have a team good enough to make it, and right now they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. They're a Final Four team. Like, you have to respect it in some way. In Game 1, they should have won if they didn't fumble it. Right now in Game 2, they're down 6 in the second half. Like, both these games are in Boston. Like, as much as we want to say, Celtics are clearly better, they might be, but Pacers are keeping it close. Pacers are going to make this a closer series than it probably should be. They beat the Knicks when they maybe shouldn't have. They keep defying the odds that people are putting against them. Maybe they are just this good, though. Who knows? Like, maybe they are really just this good of a team.
Yeah, and Diyab, what do you think about this? Because like I have the notion that like championship windows, they come and go, especially in today's NBA where there's parity. I don't know if you agree with me or not.
No, I agree. I think especially now with this second apron, the windows are a lot shorter than they would be before. You know, thanks to bum-ass Grant Williams and CJ McCollum for crippling all these good teams that finally got good. My Wolves are.
I know you hate Chris Paul. I know you hate Chris Paul, but Chris Paul made sure everyone got paid. I'm gonna just say that.
He did. It's respectable. But when it comes to Indiana, something I did want to touch on is I know that people look at the Siakam move as like an all-in win-now move. Personally, I don't think that was the correct move or the right move to make. Obviously, it looks well now because they're in the ECF. But when I look at the age of Hallie, when I look at the age of like Nemhard and just the age of that team, and Siakam's turning, I think, 30 this year.
Yeah,
this window that they have, I think, is always going to conflict with the tail end of Giannis, the tail end of whether Miami decides to actually go out and get, let's say, Donovan Mitchell next year, whether Embiid and Philly retools next year. Your window with Siakam is overlapping with that. And then on top of that, you have young, good teams that are still coming up. Orlando's there. Cleveland, regardless of what they do, they'll still be hanging around. Atlanta, maybe with this number one pick, they trade and get a star, or they draft Sarr and Sarr becomes a beast next to Trey. Even the teams that people like to count out, like Detroit and Charlotte, I do think they have plenty of talent to take that next step any of these years. Like, I really don't think that a team with like LaMelo and Brandon Miller and Mark Williams will be asked forever. So like the window that they chose is a really nasty one in my opinion. I think they really should have just like see what they have with this core, because before they even did the Siakam trade, they were a top 3-4 seed in the East for the first month and a half of the season.
Yeah, I mean, then Halliburton got hurt, so I think they had to make a move, honestly. But it's fair to say that, you know what I mean? I think Eric and I, we said this like when the NBA schedule came out. How many bad teams were there in the NBA this year? The Blazers, the Wizards,
Spurs still. Spurs are bad.
But the Spurs got Wembanyama.
You expected maybe they could even been a play-in team. Some people thought that Wemby was that good.
That's fair, but like when it comes to NBA, the parity is just there, man. You know what I mean? But I could agree with your statement. You know, maybe it's the wrong window, but it's the same thing.
I do think it's halfway there though, because the conference they're in, like when you look at the West is legit. Like there are teams that didn't make the play-ins in the West that are clearly better than the bottom end teams of the East. Like you look at the Rockets. If the Rockets were in the East and they were playing in the Hawks division, and you get to play the Hawks 4 times a year. You get to play the
Wizards.
Charlotte Hornets, the Wizards 4 times a year. It's different than they had to play the Spurs, the Mavs. Was it the Grizzlies are in your division? I think.
Yeah.
The Grizzlies.
It's the two Texas teams, Grizzlies and Pelicans.
Yeah, and the Pelicans.
That's a crazy division. It's funny.
That is. And the thing is, those teams that are there aren't that bad. They were injured. The Pelicans, they got injured, but they were still dominant when Zion was healthy. When Ja's back, the Grizzlies team is a serious one. When I look at Indiana, you're a cool tier 3 team. I'm assuming everyone's healthy, and obviously health isn't a thing in the NBA. It's all lucky. But when I look at Boston, and then
Milwaukee,
their own tier. Milwaukee, Miami, Philly, and then you could put
and then comes Indiana. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with those statements. I agree 100%.
So I think unless you're on that edge, the cusp of where the Knicks are, where if you're the Knicks and you could go out and get maybe Embiid ass out this summer, or Giannis ass out this summer, or some superstar ass out this summer or next summer, I think that's when you start making the moves around the edges, getting a Siakam, getting good all-star level players. But as your number 2 guy getting Siakam, I thought that was pretty stupid.
One thing I will say though, the Pacers are also missing Benedict Mathurin, so I feel like they were in a position where they had to get someone, and the Raptors, they need to be relocated, man. Post 2020, they haven't done anything. They didn't re-sign Fred VanVleet, which credit to them. No disrespect, Eric. But other than that,
that contract was nasty.
Dude,
but we had to do it.
They had to. No. They had to.
You had to. But in a box, bro, when you look, there was this stat that went out the other day. It's top 15 players, the top 15 paid players. And Rudy Gobert is number 13, and he's the only one still left in the playoffs. And you look 3-4 spots above him is Fred VanVleet making $41 million.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a pocket watcher, so I don't care. But
I'm watching. I'm hate watching.
Not to shift topics, right? But look at the Cavs, right? The Cavs had their ceiling. They're not better than the Knicks, Miami, Philly, Boston, Indiana, Milwaukee. They tanked for this matchup, still went 7. Granted, Jared Allen got hurt. And they fired Bickerstaff. Bickerstaff, I'm not going to say he's a good coach because he's not, but this was their ceiling. You made it to the second round. You beat the most formidable opponent. You're not better than 6 other teams in the East. This was their ceiling. That's it. You know what I mean? I don't think the Cavs are going to have a direction. But like I said, I think the Pacers benefited from being healthy. But also, like you said, there's 5 or 6 teams above them. But like I said, congrats to the Pacers. First Eastern Conference Finals in 10 years. Now, the Celtics Cavs. Now, the Mavericks Thunder, right? I don't want to sound like a broken record. Eric, you could talk about this more because obviously we both witnessed this. Diyab, you too. The 2012 Thunder lost in the finals, and people will say they'd be back. Eric, when the playoffs started, you said that OKC, that Shea needed to have a good playoff run, and he did have a great playoff run. But if you're Sam Presti, where do you go from here with OKC?
I don't think you have to make I think they were still a year early on this, and I feel whenever you are a year early on a rebuild, because a lot of their team is still young. Obviously, Shea, how old is he? 27, 26? Yeah. 26. That's still young. We usually see players hitting their best 27, 28, 29. He still has even more room to grow. It'll be hard, obviously, because he was pretty incredible this year. But between all the draft picks they have, they have the 12th overall pick. I don't know if they'll use it. They seem to love drafting young guys. I think you don't have to make any drastic moves. I'm not saying run it back with exactly the same team because they have very clear and obvious ways to improve, and you're hurting yourself by staying still. That's what people always talk about. Even teams that win the Super Bowl, the NBA championship, the World Series, if you win it and then are we're good, we won it, so we can stay the same and run it back next year, you always get worse from doing that. You will rarely ever see a team run it back with the exact same team after winning and see the same success. You have to keep improving because everyone else around you is improving. I don't know who even the top free agents are, who they could get for like mid-level exception. I don't know who the players are in free agency right now. I just don't think they have to do any drastic moves because they have guys still with 3 years left on their contract. Jalen Williams, I think he still has 3 years left because of the player option stuff. I think they're fine, but like, all due respect to him, Josh Giddey, I don't see him being the long-term answer in the starting lineup. But like, when you have a trio like Chet and Shea and Jalen Williams, who I'm not as high on Jalen Williams as some other people, but I still think he is a solid third, fourth option. When you have a trio like that, I think the best thing to do is keep putting like small pieces together, trying to find what small pieces fit instead of, oh, here's a splash move. Let's try and jump the. Like, no, you need to keep building off your star power that you have. And Chet, I think, will be a star. Shea already is. I mean, he was runner-up or third for MVP. Jalen Williams is a very solid starter. Like, I think you just make a lot of small moves and keep trying to find those small pieces that will fit around it instead of trying to make a big splash move. And I don't even know if they have the money for a splash move, but they certainly have tradable assets to try and make that move. But I don't know if that would be the smartest thing for them right now.
Diyab, thoughts on the OKC, and did they reach their ceiling?
I do think that they blew past their ceiling, honestly, because the way that they clinched the first seed, like my preseason prediction for them was like a 6-7 seed. I thought that they would be a playoff team, but I didn't see them being like on the level of Denver all year long, and Shea being this real MVP candidate. Because I had my own questions about Shea. I'm like, okay, is this just a good stats on a bad team kind of guy? Like when Bradley Beal was putting up obviously he's better than Bradley Beal. Like, I'm not saying
everyone, man. I'm glad we all don't like Bradley Beal.
mid.
Bro, I can't stand that man.
I'm glad we beat him.
Continue.
But yeah, when I look at OKC, I had them losing in the first round of the playoffs, like before I even knew who they were playing, because I expected them to play the Lakers. I didn't think the Lakers would be dumb enough to challenge Denver again, but obviously they did, and obviously their season ended up the way it did. But when I looked at Dallas, the one strength that I see teams have against OKC is their size. And the fact that they have Daniel Gafford and they had Lively all season long, just pounding the boards, rebounding. You know, you could play pick and roll with Luka or Kyrie, like, and then you just have Chet. If Chet fouls out, you have nothing. They're playing the other Jalen Williams, and he's not a center. Like, he genuinely isn't. And it's funny because a lot of people did point it out. It was OKC that actually facilitated the Daniel Gafford trade, and they also facilitated the Derek Lively trade during the draft. Yeah. So it's like my expectations, even looking at OKC last year, Chet wasn't a 5. He's not a 5 in my eyes. He's a 4. I expected them to actually draft Jalen Duren with Chet. That's what I assumed
my God, that
they would do.
So clean.
Damn.
Oh, I wish. I love Jalen Duren.
I am a huge Jalen Duren stan. Yeah. You and me both, man. But yeah, I expect them this summer. I think Nick Claxton is the big center name on the free agency market this year. I think they aggressively go after him. Mm-hmm. That'll be a sick duo, like in the front court, Claxton and you have Chet. So I think that's where they should go. Beating the Pelicans, like, it was cool. I wish Zion was healthy because I really do think that the Pelicans had a real strong chance to beat OKC round 1 had they had Zion, especially the way that he looked against Anthony Davis in that play-in game. He was a wrecking ball. And like that versus Chet, I would like to see that. Like, that is what I wanted to see.
Weight room.
Yeah. I mean, I like Chet too. Like, I'm a Minnesota guy. I've seen this guy play back in high school. So he was a good player for a very long time. I'm glad to see that he's like this, but they have some ways to go. But I don't think that they should be going all in. Like, people are saying, oh, they should trade all their assets and go after Laurie. I feel like you can make moves around the edges, see if J-Dub becomes that third guy. Because again, like Eric said, I'm not a big J-Dub guy myself, because there were all this talks of like, can he be a top 20 player, 25 player, something?
Yep. Well, no. Say it with your chest. It was top 20. That's what. No disrespect to Jackson Frank tweeted
I mean,
out.
he literally contradicted himself. He said he's a top 20 player, and then someone replied,
how many teams will he be the
how many
best player
teams would
on?
he be the best player on? And he said 9. So that leaves 21 teams that he's not, like, he proved himself wrong that he does. Like, I don't know.
That's not even considering the multiple good players on one team either.
Exactly, like LeBron and Anthony Davis. He's not better than either of them. Like, Cat and
Devin
Ant,
Booker,
like,
KD.
like different. Yeah,
Oh.
it's just dumb.
When I look at J-Dub, I see him as like what people thought Mikal Bridges was. When Mikal Bridges and he left and he was on his own, people were expecting Kawhi Leonard, but they got fucking Mikal Bridges. And now look at the Brooklyn Nets. Like is J-Dub is gonna be a good player. He might be a borderline like all-star
role player, like a role player all-star, because there's good role
Yeah.
players and then there's like all-stars.
He might be like kind of like when Drew Holiday was making all-star games or
Yeah,
like something like that.
Bro, the Drew Holiday story with his wife, man, like I remember being in high school and just like reading the news and I'd be like, yo, what? It was, but I'm glad, dude, super sad, man. Like, not to get all inspirational, but like a lot of us really do take life for granted, man. Like it's very sad. But we talked about the Pacers, the Celtics, the Mavericks. There's one more team we have to talk about.
I wonder which one.
You wonder
which one?
You could take it away. No, but listen. After the Nuggets won Game 5, I don't think anyone except Phil, no disrespect to Phil, picked the Wolves to win 7. And to be 50-pieced at home, well, excuse me, on the road, and then having to go home and people still picking you, it speaks to the level of respect that people have for Jokic, right? Because let's be honest, Jamal Murray, you guys know how I feel about him. MPJ. Reggie Jackson. Christian Braun. I do respect KCP, but Aaron Gordon. But enough of me blabbering. Diyab, the Timberwolves eliminated the champions. This is going to be the 6th consecutive year where the NBA does not have a champion that repeats for the first time since the 70s. How did you feel? Like, describe the moment. Describe the being down 20, the clock just hitting 000, and you guys winning. Like, what was that?
Oh my God. I mean, for context, the people that don't follow me on Twitter or anything, I put up a tweet, and it was bullshit troll, right? Like saying something along the lines of like, you don't want to hear what I'm going to say if Cat makes the conference finals before Joel Embiid. That tweet blew up, right? And this is when we're up 2-0 and everyone's calling me a front runner. I was just bullshitting. I swear to God, I was bullshitting.
And you went viral.
And it went viral. And then all these Philly fans, they're all sad in my mentions. They're like, oh, Cat's a 3rd option and Embiid's a 1st option. Like, if you guys swapped Cat and Embiid, you'd win the championship. I'm like, well, fuck you guys. Like, we don't even need Embiid and we're here. This dude can't even beat Jalen Brunson. He can't beat Trae Young. He got gamed by Kevin Huerter. Like, I don't want to hear anything about Joel Embiid. He's sorry. He's very fucking sorry. And then they come back. And this is the shit about the Timberwolves. Once they get shit in their head, they get gassed up by the media. They get gassed up on Twitter. I know they be reading tweets. Like, I'm in this Timberwolves group chat. There's some people that DM like Nas Reed. And like, some players respond, bro. Like, players will respond. It's like, bro, relax. Like, this is the 3-time MVP. Like, it's fucking Jokic. Jokic, if there's a player that scares me in this league, it is fucking Jokic, especially after what he did to us at Game 4 and Game 5. Like, this dude is absolutely ridiculous. The way that he was making Rudy look like a nobody. And the thing is, Rudy, he was playing some really good ass defense, but the slander he caught was just disgusting. There are so many people like, oh, he wouldn't do this to Bam. He wouldn't do this to AD. I'm like, this is a generational top
3 player of all time, bro. Like, just say it. Like, he's disgusting.
He's ridiculous.
Not to cut you off, right? But
yeah,
I love how people on Twitter, they're like, put Rudy in drop coverage, and I'm like, wow, bro, you should be on ESPN. Sorry, continue.
Oh my God, fucking Draymond, bro. His whole new media shtick that he was doing, that shit's out the window. He's one of them. He's one of them. He is one of them, and he's so like salty about it. Like, literally, Rudy got 0 credit for yesterday. The stats even show he had the highest plus minus is a faulty stat, but when it comes to Rudy, it's a legit stat. Like, he had the highest plus minus to the team. Teams, like, once he was off the floor, the Mavs shot like 88% from the field when he wasn't on the floor, like right in the paint. They were getting whatever they wanted. It was a 30% drop when Rudy was there, and this is with Kyrie going dumb and stupid too. So it's like he's doing the best that he can. Like, great defensive players, you don't always shut down the player. You just make life hard for them. Like, when you go watch Bam will play some of the best defense you'll see. And then you look in the other side, maybe Tatum has like a 27-30 point game, or Joel Embiid has 30 points, or Jokic. Like, those are all-time great players.
Can I add one more thing? The
Yeah.
Mavericks went up by 7, and what was the first thing Reggie Miller said? Rudy Gobert is checking back in. Like, that's how important those minutes in the fourth quarter were without him. Like, I think it was a tied game, or maybe it was like Luka went on a 7.
Maybe like a small lead or something.
Yeah. Luka went on like a
did his
7-0
bullshit.
run. Yeah. And then Reggie Miller said Rudy Gobert is looking to check back in. Like, no disrespect, right? Obviously, the Wolves are constructed fantastic. But when Rudy goes to the bench against the Mavericks last night, it just seemed like a different team. It was so weird.
It was. Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
It was a very sorry like defensive effort from like Cat, and so that was like the worst defense they played by far in the entire playoffs. And yet again, who'd they blame? Rudy
Gobert.
But like going back to the actual win though, I was fucking ecstatic, bro. Literally, I went one by one. Every single person that quoted my tweet, every single person underneath that tweet, I literally went and I tried to find as many people as I could. And I was just running victory laps because you know what? You can't even call me a front runner. Even after we went down, I still said we were winning. I think I even said on the pod we were still gonna win. So if anything, I was just a year early from last year, because last year I said we had a chance to beat Denver. Because you could see the process with the players, like Jaden McDaniels locked the fuck out of Jamal Murray. Anthony Edwards locked up Jamal Murray. Jokic, he was struggling like once we started blitzing him. And once Rudy went back to being the roamer, and he had Cat played fantastic defense on Rudy. Like that is 2 series in a row. Rudy, Jokic. He did fantastic defense on Kevin Durant. Fantastic defense on Jokic. Like we need to start giving this dude his flowers. And still, there's people on Twitter, and the only thing that they can say about him is that he's zesty and his voice is high, and that's it. But this dude, take all the other bullshit off. Cat is a fantastic player. There was Brian Windhorst earlier this year. He said Cat had 0 trade value. He said that you'd actually have to like attach picks to get rid of Cat. Look at that shit now. He's in the conference finals. Joel Embiid, sorry ass, is at home. He's tweeting about Cat. He's like, wow, because what? We won. He didn't win. He doesn't know what this is like. Like, that is just my thing. But I feel fantastic because these last 4 years of being a Timberwolves fan, there's like a clear like point where we went from being like a sorry franchise, no one talks about us, no one looks at us. Like even when he went to games at Target Center, half the arena, if not more, were fans of the other team. Like people were coming to watch Steph, people were coming to watch LeBron, people were fucking coming to watch Damian Lillard. Like instead of like the actual team there. Dame's a great player. Like I'm not signing Dame, but like it's Minnesota. Why are you rooting for Dame? Fucking so many Portland jerseys everywhere. But it's like you go from that. You draft Ant. Everyone says Ant doesn't like basketball. He's a football player pretending to be a basketball player. He doesn't care about basketball. He's surrounded with the wrong people. All this shit. And there were people talking about drafting James Wiseman. You know how stupid this looks? James fucking Wiseman's barely in the league right now by a fucking thin thread. And they wanted this guy. The Warriors, we offered to trade down with them from 1 to 2. Giving them the chance to get Anthony Edwards, and they said, nah, fuck you. We will take Bucket and we will take James Wiseman. Well, I guess that's payback for the Steph trade, because now we have Anthony fucking Edwards, and then we make the playoffs 2021. Embarrassing way to go out. The Cat didn't play his best series, but you move. At least you made the playoffs. It's like the last time we did was the Jimmy year, and this year we actually looked like we had a chance. The Jimmy year, we were playing fucking James Harden, like literally in the first round. We didn't have a chance. And last year we played Denver, and it was
without
a strong
Jaden
series. Yeah, without Jaden McDaniels and without Naz Reid. And you push them, and literally the Denver players will tell you, we pushed them more than any other team. We took a game. I know Phoenix took 2, but Phoenix wasn't. It's just a bunch of...
The thing about Phoenix is that they were shooting 95% from the field. Like, that shit was not sustainable. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It wasn't. So it's like, whatever. Phoenix frauds. We don't talk about them. And then they played the Lakers. And the Lakers talking all this shit, all high and mighty, and they get fucking swept.
Wait, can I take over real quick? The game one adjustment is put Rui Hachimura on Jokic. Japanese Kawhi, baby.
The fact that was a thing is absolutely fucking
I'm
insane.
not bullshitting, by the way. You can look it up on Twitter, bro. Like,
No,
the things that I said, that Eric and I we say on here, we see it on Twitter. Like, I'm not making this shit up. They said put Japanese Kawhi on Jokic.
So many people, I literally, because I know there's this one guy that did it. copied and pasted word for word this one Lakers adjustment of putting
I
Rui
saw
on
that.
Jokic, and like a billion people were posting like, "Oh, this is the key," and they want to sound smart. And what the fuck did Jokic do, bro? He fucking cooked him. And they put Rui on Michael Porter Jr. and he looked like Kevin Durant out there. Like he was murdering them.
Yeah.
Lakers are sorry. And you know, for all the shit that they talk about Rudy winning Defensive Player of the Year, he won what? We won one game last year, and then we won the 4 this year. So that's 5 wins against Jokic. I don't even think they've probably beat Jokic 5 times since the bubble. Like they won 4 times in the bubble. Yeah. Because they're like what 0-12 or like 1-11 against Denver since then.
The last time they beat them was last year with Russ before the Russ trade, and then they lost like 11 in a row.
That's just so sorry. That is sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
I'm happy. The team is in the right direction. The reputation's up. We have a tough series against Dallas. People are underestimating the fuck out of Dallas. Like, it is Luka and Kyrie. When you have those two, they always have a chance. And we clearly saw it last night, especially the way Kyrie came out. Like, he heard the shit that Ant was talking. And he literally said a post-game too. And he backed
I saw it.
Like,
Dude, I was giggling, yo. He was like, because like, bro, they were like, oh, did you hear the comments? I know you were chilling at home. You're like, dude, shut up. Like, we know he saw the comments. Like, you know what I mean?
But that's good.
The
though.
thing
That
with Ant is at
that
least
makes the shit more entertaining. Like,
it does. Because everyone doesn't need to be like a quiet person. You want the quotes. Because the thing is, when people have these quotes and they back it up, it's an all-timer. And saying, "We'll see you game 7." That was fire. Luka a couple years ago against Phoenix was like, "Oh, everybody talks when they're up, but we'll see." And he backs it up. And not only that, he whooped their ass in game 7. Like, embarrassing to the point where they had to literally submit a public apology to the fans of how bad they got their ass whooped.
Bro, like, everyone wants an MJ who will talk shit and do all this, but then once we actually get it, like Ant, people kind of get upset. No, it's good for, like, we want this shit. Like, if you complain about this, then you just don't like sports. I don't want to talk basketball with you if you're gonna sit there and complain about shit.
It's the same thing with like parity. Like, people complain about super teams, and now we have parity, and they're like, "Oh, well, I need a new superstar to leech off of," and I'm like, okay.
Those fans, once LeBron retires, bro, they're gonna be so
What
lost.
are they gonna do, man? They're gonna become Wembanyama fans.
That's what they were saying. Yeah,
that's so shameless, bro. I know there's a couple that are trying to be like Ant fans, and bro, some of them will go as far as probably be a Tatum fan if the Celtics win it this year. Like, there's no sense of like loyalty at all in that fan base.
No.
Eric, do you have anything else to say about the Wolves? I think, bro, he was speaking straight from, bro. The thing is, we wanted to have you on again because you were speaking straight from the heart, and I think you did a good job. So,
hey, I never said y'all. I never doubt y'all. I just said people were underestimating the Nuggets, saying it was going to be a sweep. Nuggets were going to series, and then it became a series game. That's all I was saying. I thought Timberwolves have been a great team this whole time, and
I had Denver.
I picked all the beat the Mavericks.
Yeah.
So
that game, my official bracket, I had Denver winning, like being unbiased. But you know, when you put your bias cap on, I'm like Wolves in 6, because we genuinely did have, like, the fan in me was telling me we had a chance, but like the realistic person, like, even if I'm being realistic right now, Boston's winning the championship. I think everyone could probably agree that they have the best odds, even regardless if they play us or they play Dallas. I do think we have the better chance of beating Boston, but then there's just too many flaws on this team. Like, I could recognize that in my own team. Our offense is just not that.
I think I have Wolves Celtics as well, but dude, seeing the Celtics whoop Kyrie's ass, I think that'd be fire. I'm not gonna lie. Imagine TD Garden just booing the shit out of Kyrie in an NBA Finals game. Like,
you know
listen, I'm not
about TD Garden.
I'm not Triple H,
fuck.
Bro. Dude, it's so weird because they are and then they're not. It's so weird. Like, they were quite well. And one thing I will say, not to bring up the whole aura thing, but dude, the games on TNT just sound and look so much better. Like, the lights are off on TNT and the court looks so much better. I'm not bugging, dude. I promise you I'm not. Like, I saw the Heat play last year at TD Garden, and I see the Pacers play this year, and the visuals, it's so different, man. So weird. Moving on to our second topic of the night. Eric, there's a lot of amazing storytelling going on, right? But the elephant in the room, the Chiefs have the potential to become the first team to three-peat the NFL, right? And me and you, we are very appreciative of history, right? Obviously, we didn't see the Patriots go back-to-back in 04 and 05, but we do have a chance to witness Mahomes do this. And with the NFL schedule out, it's very early. I know it's only May, but what are you feeling? Being able to, we're always appreciative of history. So like being able to witness this firsthand, what do you think?
It does just go to show you. I mean, me and you are very big Tom Brady fans, and we preach his greatness all the time. And even me and you, if they go and three-peat and Mahomes continues this, even we're going to have to start having some discussions. Like, I don't think he's caught up to him yet. I don't even think with one more he's at him yet. But discussions will need to be had about how close he is, because I already think Mahomes is the second greatest ever.
Yeah, I don't think that's controversial at all. Like, no disrespect to Peyton Manning, but I mean,
I think now the discussion is who's third best. So is it Joe Montana? Is it Peyton Manning? Is Drew Brees? Like Dan Marino? It becomes who's third best now because we already know 1 and 2, and I think we're both pretty firm on who's 1 and who's 2. But the fact is, like, they have the perfect model, in my opinion, and it's easier said than done. Of course, that's why I get annoyed when people are like, teams should copy the Texans. Well, not every team gets a jump start by trading away a franchise QB and getting 3 first-round picks to start with. You don't get that all the time, so it's not easy to copy. But like, they're pretty much, they have the best quarterback in the league and the number 1 defense. Like, I think that's brilliant. Where if you have a quarterback who doesn't need a ton to work with, just build up that defense to where he can do enough on offense to win you games, but the defense can also do enough to win you games. Like, if they had just a stacked offense, the number 1 ranked offense, but the 28th ranked defense, they wouldn't be winning Super Bowls because you don't win Super Bowls that way. They are great on both ends, though. Like, they still probably will have the best defense in the league next year. They have arguably the best defensive player in the league in Chris Jones, top 5.
Mm-hmm.
They have a good coach, Andy Reid. They have a very good model on how they've built this. And I don't know if they're who I'd pick to win it this year, but I don't think you can ever write them off. And I think they are still the team to beat until it's proven otherwise.
Not to sound like the casual, right? But last year was the Chiefs' weak year, quote unquote weak, and they still won it all. You know what I mean? Like, I thought the Dolphins had a chance, even though we were playing in like -3-degree weather, but their defense was their focal point, which is crazy to say because they have, like you said, arguably the greatest quarterback of all time already. And I'm starting with the Chiefs this discussion because they do have 5 primetime games and they do play on Black Friday, and then the Raiders have their championship. Every single time the Raiders and the Chiefs play, like, for some reason, like, the 6 Raider fans that exist, they just come out of their hiding because they're like, oh, we beat the Chiefs, yada, yada, yada. I don't know if you remember last year when they beat them on Christmas that they were like, oh, we beat the Chiefs, yada, you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty funny to say. But speaking of a new toy, the Texans are on primetime a lot. They have 4 primetime games, and they have a Christmas Day game. So being where the Texans were Deshaun Watson a few years ago, 27-0, 24-0, and now to like accelerate the rebuild, quote unquote, win a playoff game, and now be on primetime. How are you feeling?
It's good. It's stressful because there's a lot of pressure, but also I think it's tough because, like, the Jaguars are still a solid team and the Colts are still a solid team, and both have a far easier schedule than the Texans this year. So even though we are the most talented team in our division, I don't think it's like a cakewalk. I don't think it's going to be easy by any means. NFL, it never is. And I've been pretty vocal that don't get me wrong. I like seeing the Texans play primetime games. It's always fun seeing them in the spotlight, so they get more eyes on them and stuff. But I've been vocal that in my entire life, my favorite thing ever is going to church, getting home, watching a Texans game, watching football all day. Like, Texans playing on noon Sunday on CBS, or at noon on CBS on Sunday. That's like my favorite thing. Like, that is like Christmas every Sunday to me whenever that's a thing. Having Sunday night games, Monday night games, like the Christmas schedule really makes it weird because the week before we play the Chiefs on a Saturday, and then we play on Ravens on Christmas on a Wednesday. Like, it's the same difference as a Sunday night to Thursday night game, but playing a game on a Saturday and Wednesday, like that's just so weird. I don't know. And if Texans ruin my Christmas, because they 100%, I am shallow enough to let them ruin my Christmas. So they better at least make it a competitive game, because if we get beat badly by the Ravens on Christmas, it's gonna suck. And I'm gonna I have some Steelers fans in my family. They're gonna be talking shit. Like, I can't do it.
Dude, another thing, like, not to get all inspirational in speaking, but time moves so fast as we get older, right? So, bro, like, I'm so excited for football, but then I know that, like, the year is gonna end, and then boom, we're right back to March. You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
Football goes by so fast.
That's the good thing I've appreciated about footy. Like, soccer is, the season is so damn long. Like, it's from like August to May.
Yeah.
It's beautiful because you go 3 months without it, and the 3 months without it, it's transfer news the whole time, which pretty much holds you over. Or you have Copa America, Euros, all this stuff to hold you over. Like, there's really never an off season in soccer.
No, that's why it's funny, because these guys are playing like 60, 70, 80.
Unhealthy.
I dragged it with the 80. All right, I dragged it, but like 70 games.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Tough,
and next year we have
Real Madrid. Like, they're playing League Cups and all their league games and Champions League or Euro.
And then the Euros comes, and then the Copa Americas comes. Yeah.
It's brutal.
Yeah. And the thing about, like, the thing I remember the most about my childhood is that in February, it was the Champions League and The Walking Dead. Every single February, that's the two things you look forward to: The Walking Dead and the Champions League. And now, unfortunately, the Walking Dead is, well, super watched. But next year,
I don't know what it is. This is a side topic. Lately, I've been seeing so many compilations of like Rick on.
Yeah, me too, bro.
People be hyping. I mean, I get it though. I remember liking Rick a lot. I only watched to like
season 4. Yes, bro. Yes.
But people fucking loved Rick, dude.
The end of season 4 is like when I was like, all right, this is it. And now that I'm like on season 9 or 10, I'm like, dude, what?
I still do.
I'll probably rewatch, but like,
yeah.
The first,
you should do that. We should do that and have one episode where we like talk about all the show. We already did a movie episode. We should do one where we talk about shows and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. But not to get sidetracked, right? Dude, the Jets have 2 Sunday night football games, 2 Monday night football games, a Thursday night football game, and a London game in their first 11 weeks for a 39-year-old that's coming off an Achilles injury. So, Eric, what do you think about the Jets getting the spotlight, which is understandable, right? Obviously, Aaron Rodgers, he makes money, this and that, but 6 out of the first 11 games you're on primetime, all eyes on you. What do you think?
It's gonna be tough. I think anytime you're ever in the spotlight, it's kind of just like holy shit, now you gotta show out big time, getting holy shit. Like, it's never any calm weeks really, which in the NFL it rarely ever is. But like, I mean, shit, like if the Dolphins, if you randomly have a game against the Patriots that's like on just Sunday at noon, you're gonna be like, oh, this is more relaxing than a game against the Chiefs on Sunday night,
because
like,
everyone's watching you.
Yeah, because there's some weeks where it's just more stressful every time and stuff, and they are just bombarded with that. Now, don't get me wrong, I think Jets are going to be really good. I mean, they have an elite defense. They have a hopefully healthy Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers, I think it's safe to say he won't be as good as he was 3-4 years ago, but he's still Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be better than whoever they tried throwing out there last year. Garrett Wilson's a dog. They upgrade their offensive line by a ton. They still have Breece Hall. Good, like, they are a very, very, very talented team, and I'm excited to see what they look like with an actual good quarterback and stuff. Because like, I think he's going into his 3rd season. We still haven't seen Garrett Wilson yet with really a good quarterback, and he still puts up 1,000 numbers. So like, I'm excited to see Garrett Wilson with a great quarterback. I think he could be a 1,500-yard guy. Like, I think he has all the talent in the world, and I'm excited to see how that offense runs, actually, and hopefully the defense won't have to carry games as much. Like, I think Jets are definitely going to be one of those, like, fun teams to watch throughout the year.
I think it's crazy to say that Tom Brady is going to be calling games. You know what I'm saying? Like, our whole life he was playing, and now, like, listen, we're getting old. I'm about to be 25. Obviously, Eric just turned 25. But, like, this is – Tom Brady, the player, is all we've known our whole life. And you know what? I'm going to just say it. I miss Joe Buck on Fox, man. It's not the same.
Like Joe Buck. Yeah,
I am very pro Joe Buck. Don't get me wrong. I love damn, what's his name? Joe Davis. He's great. He's fantastic. But Joe Buck went from being a mediocre sportscaster, because back like 20 years ago in the 2000s, he was not like this, to being one of the greatest. Like, I have a video that I saw about 50 Joe Buck's 50's greatest calls. I have to send it to you, but man, Joe Buck on a primetime game on a Sunday at 4:25, you know what time it was, man. You really knew what time it was.
Yeah,
not to shift topics again, but I just
I mean, this is kind of still on topic. We're talking about football and stuff, and I mean, as much as people want to say it doesn't matter, commentary and stuff matters. It does change the game. Like how, like I gotta say, again, slight subject change, but like last night, I think it was Mike Breen. His calls were not great last night. It kind of made the game not like. Whenever you have great commentary, like I remember, who was the one who used to do all the Miami LeBron games? Fucking iconic voice, Marv Albert.
Marv Albert, yeah.
Dude, I used to love prime Marv Albert, but then in his later years, you're like, holy shit, get this guy off the air.
Get
like,
off the air.
It's just like having a good commentary makes the game so much. And like Tony Romo, holy shit, when Tony Romo is doing a Texans game or something, I get so excited because I love having Tony Romo do the games. He makes it just feel more exciting and better. So I don't know, that stuff definitely matters. And I feel like Joe Buck throughout the years has definitely gotten way too much hate. Like even whenever he did the
dude, when he did, not to bring up the Astros and be a kiss ass, but bro, Joe Buck calling World Series games, that shit box off.
Whenever he did the was it? I don't know if this was World Series, I'm kind of blanking. Whenever he did like Gurriel has hide it.
Yeah.
Wow, like that shit was because he's perfect at like the one-liner real quick and then letting you just hear the crowd.
And then just quit. Yes, and then shutting up. Yeah. Listen.
Oh my god, because I hate ones that drone on and you can't hear anything really. Like I remember someone showed it perfectly, and this was also camera work that was done really well, and it was a college football game. It was a team that like it wasn't like a major game, I don't think. It was two teams that were like whatever, but a team like got a scoop and score as like time expired, and the announcer did a perfect one-liner, like talking about like just a perfect one-liner to set the scene, and then as the camera was going, it started scanning up as it followed the player, and then just followed the crowd the whole way and showed the crowd going crazy. Like moments like that. Or things like that, like commentary and camera work, change a moment so much because, like, you think instantly, like, you think to Mike Breen's, like, double bangs whenever he calls a crazy shot and stuff. Like, those matter in these moments. And I'm praying Tom Brady and other people like that, like, other former players keep coming and doing
I feel bad for Greg Olsen, but, dude,
he got hoed, bro.
Badly, man. Badly.
That does suck because I like Greg Olsen.
One thing I will say, man, when Joe Buck says no flags, you're like, my bad, OG, you got it, bro. Like, tell me now, you hear it in your head right now.
Yes.
Touchdown Texans, no flags, and you're like, my bad, you got it.
Fucking yeah, man. Oh, I'm hyped for both seasons. I swear, literally, this is how much I love NFL and football. Like, football is pretty easily my favorite sport. That's always been the case. Literally whenever it gets close to football season, it'll be like August or so whenever preseason games start coming up. I'll literally just like put on the CBS theme song, the Monday night theme song, and I'll just be vibing. I'll be like, man, I miss it. I'm hyped, bro. Like me and my friends will be just like getting so hyped. It'll be fucking the middle of June and we're like, dude, we're 2 months away. We're 3 months. Like we'll just be getting hyped because that's how much we love football. And I think this season's gonna be really good. It helps when your team is good. Obviously, Dolphins and Texans are good for both of us. But man, NFL. What a sport.
Yeah. Like, listen, like I obviously know more basketball than football, but ever since the Dolphins have been good for like 2-3 years now, like I'm loving NFL, man. Like,
hey,
I don't know.
Miami gonna be good for you too, so that'll help you with college football.
We got Cam Ward, baby.
Yeah, Cam Ward. They'll be good for you too.
But anyways, before we move on, Eric, the 49ers have 6 primetime games. The Cowboys, listen, I don't think we have to cry about the Cowboys. We get it, yada, yada, yada. Now, 5. The Rams, the Bengals, the Bills, the Lions, the Dolphins, the Eagles, the Ravens, and the Green Bay Packers. I think all of those teams are worthy of 5. You got, obviously, the best quarterback in the game. The Rams are the Rams. The Bengals, Joe Burrow, God willing, is healthy. Josh Allen, obviously. The Lions just made a run. The Dolphins have their offense. The Eagles are the Eagles. The Ravens have the MVP. And the Packers, upcoming team. I think 5 is fair for those teams.
No, I agree. How many do the Bears have? They have 3, right?
The Bears have 3. Yeah,
That's crazy.
bro.
I think they would have 4 or 5, honestly.
If the Bears don't make the playoffs, I'm not gonna say it's a failure, right? But I think the Bears have an accessible schedule because the NFC is garbage. I think.
100%. I mean,
Yeah.
like, if you think of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, probably 7 or 8 of them at least are in the AFC.
You got Mahomes, AFC, Burrow, AFC, Josh Allen, AFC, Lamar Jackson, AFC,
Herbert.
AFC, CJ Stroud, AFC. Anthony Richardson is on the rise. He's not top 10, but he's on the rise. AFC.
And the NFC has what, like Dak, Love,
Jalen Hurts,
and Hurts.
and
Dak,
Stafford,
Love, Hurts.
and Stafford.
Stafford, yeah. And Jared Goff is borderline, but I don't know if I'd put him top 10. He might be like 11.
Yeah, so, and then, not to be an asshole, but the Panthers having 0 is justified. They just don't have a direction.
You got 2 at top 10, for sure.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I didn't want to, like, mention him. Like, he's, like, top. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, anyway, so you said who has 0?
So, the Panthers have 0. I think that's justified. The Vikings have 2. So, the thing about the Vikings is they don't really have expectations. You know what I mean? They just got J.J. McCarthy. They obviously have the best wide receiver in the game, or second best. So, I think the NFL did a good job, honestly. I'm gonna give them an A minus, because obviously, the Niners having 6 primetime games, I don't have a problem with that. But the Jets having 6 in their first 11 games is crazy.
I don't know if I still have to get used to it. I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of Christmas games.
It's funny because the NBA was on Christmas, right? The NFL had a meeting and they were like, wait a minute.
Why don't we just do
it ourselves? They're like, who cares?
And they did kind of. I mean, I guarantee you more people, granted, viewership is whatever. We know it. You need context added and stuff. Like a lot of illegal streams, a lot of foreign viewers. But the viewership for what it is will be much higher on the NFL games. And like people complain all the time, oh, the Thanksgiving games, it's the same teams. The Lions are this, the Cowboys are this. But everyone still tunes in to watch them. I watch them every single year. I watch all 3 games every year.
We're playing on Thanksgiving. In my lifetime, we have never played on Thanksgiving. I'm hyped.
Exactly. Like, I don't know, man. It's gonna be weird watching the Texans on Christmas. I mean, we do a whole like family thing, like most families do, like
right
on Christmas Eve, and then we have just luckily our like secluded, closer family mostly on Christmas. Usually, sometimes we go to like my grandma's and stuff. But I am like telling them, I'm like, no matter where we are, I have to be by a TV. All right, I have to be near a TV to watch a game, and then I'll still be, talking to family stuff. But for those 3 hours, I'm locked in. The rest of the time, I'm a family man.
I wanted to do a spoiler. I wanted to wait but I'll wait a couple weeks for an episode. It's crazy the schedule, but I'll spoil that in not next episode, but the following one. But a few key dates: you got Caleb Williams against Jaden Daniels, week 8. You got Kirk Cousins, King Kirk against his former team, week 14. You got Saquon against his former team on October 20th. You got Russell Wilson against the Broncos on September 15, week 2. You got Drake May versus Caleb Williams, Stephon Diggs versus his former team, week 5. You got Jaden Daniels versus Malik Neighbors, and then you got Aaron Jones against his former team, week 4. I think the NFL did it. Dude, it's so weird. Like, every year the NFL gets better. And a lot of people try to say the NFL is going to die down, but dude, that shit is never going to die down, man. Like, let's be honest. It's Eric, but like the thing that pisses me off the most, bro, it goes by so fast, man. It's so weird. Listen, I'm getting older and I understand that and yada, 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 but the way time moves, man, so it's annoying. It's annoying. But
that's why you blink and it's week 8 already and you're like, what the season's halfway over? Like, this sucks.
I'm sorry, but like it goes by. Okay, I'm not gonna say every game matters in the NFL, but like to an extent, week 4, 25% of your season is gone. Week 8, 50. Week 12, crazy. 75. Boom. And there's more things to talk about the schedule. I don't want to like keep on rambling, but obviously the Dolphins in December, January, always going to be a big question mark. But ladies and gentlemen, that was amazing coverage. I really had fun with this topic. I threw a curveball to Eric. Eric was like, wait, the NFL schedule? What are we going to talk about? I'm like, dude, we're going to have fun with this. But nonetheless, moving on to our last topic, Eric, it's finally happening. The Champions League final. Hey, Leverkusen.
Dude, what?
Finally lost a game, bro.
That was hilarious. And they lost pretty bad too. Like it wasn't that close of a game.
It was
3-0? That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I think it was wicked. It was crazy, but I don't think this takes away from their season. You know what I mean? Like 50 games undefeated. They won the league undefeated, but congratulations to them on a fantastic season. They still have the German Cup, so they could do the double. But Eric, the Champions League final is here. And then 2 weeks after that is Copa America. Like, dude, this is so funny, man. Like,
no offseason. It's just constant, dude. Like, imagine these Real Madrid players, like Bellingham and y'all got a superstar squad. All of them are going to be on. Yeah, all of them are going to be on their national team basically because y'all's team is ridiculous.
Vinicius, Rodrigo, Milita, bro, it's going to be funny.
Yeah, but like they don't really get a vacation, like because right when they're done with this, they're pretty much flying to their home
preseason
and starting like.
Preseason,
training for the Copa America and stuff.
Yeah, and then after is preseason. Like,
it's just
we'll see.
There's no vacation for them.
It's funny, but I think we complain that the small market teams, quote unquote, were on one side of the bracket and then all the powerhouses. But I understand what UEFA is doing, but man, like. I don't think a single soul picked Inter Milan last year, honestly. Like, let's keep it a buck. I really don't.
And that's
think
what
so.
Sucks is because we were kind of like, oh, the Man City curse, like, oh, it'll continue. But then once we saw their matchup with Inter, it's like, fuck, they're just gonna win. Like, we just know, like,
it was close.
It was, but like, could you? And look, I know you're gonna do your thing as a Real Madrid fan. You can't say, oh, we'll blow them out. And you are also a Dortmund fan, but you can't just sit there and say like, oh, it's going to be a clear winning. But how much more hyped up would this game be if it was Madrid versus City or Madrid versus Bayern, like we already saw? Those were way more hyped up than this final even is. And that's what kind of sucks is like Dortmund, all credit to them.
Everyone who's in front of you, right?
Yeah, everyone thought whenever Bayern finally would lose the league, it would be Dortmund. That didn't happen, but they in their own right are having an incredible season by making the Champions League final. Like, you can't complain about that, but it's just how many people would realistically have so much faith in Dortmund that they would even be willing to like put money on it? Almost nobody, because Real Madrid are just flat out a better team. And granted, in this sport, we see plenty of times where the less talented team comes through and wins. Real Madrid are like Goliath right now. Like it just doesn't feel like they can really be beat. And we also know, as much as Andres wants to scoff at it, they got that black magic when it comes to this tournament. So they're gonna get whatever they need to win this game.
Yeah. So what's your prediction for the game?
3-1.
3-1. Okay.
I don't even. Yeah, 3-1. I'll go 3-1.
Okay. I think it when it comes to football, right? You have to play who's in front of you. It's the same thing with the NBA and the awful discourse. People are like, "Oh, the Pacers got lucky. Oh, the Celtics got lucky." Dude, you have to play who's in front of you. It's not Dortmund's fault that PSG lost. It's not Dortmund's fault that Atletico lost. It's not Dortmund's fault that PSV lost. All you could do is play who was in front of them. You know what I mean? And not to get corny, quote unquote, but it's funny how Leverkusen won the league, Dortmund is in the final, and neither of those teams are Bayern Munich. Just how everyone predicted. Very corny, but
Harry Kane curse.
Yeah, dude. Harry Kane is a candidate to win the Ballon d'Or.
Dude, I feel for him. Like, he just can't catch a break, really. Like, this is the worst Bayern team we've probably seen in quite some time. Like, his supporting cast
around him,
decade
plus. Yeah.
They were not good. And he, in his own right, was phenomenal all year, pretty much.
Yeah, he had 36 goals and like 8 assists in the league alone.
Yeah.
Bro, they are so cursed. They're not playing in the German Super Cup because they lost the last game of the season. So they finished third, and obviously Leverkusen is in the final and things like that. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's just it's crazy, man. It's very unfortunate, but not to beat around the bush. I do think that obviously I think Real Madrid is gonna win. I don't want to copy you, say 3-1. So I'm gonna just say.
I'll change mine to 2-0 because I was thinking about it. 2-0. I don't think Dortmund score, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Should I go to? You know what? I'll be an asshole. I'm gonna go 3-0. Screw it.
I mean, I don't think that's far-fetched at all. And Watch, we could come back to this. Oh, like when the game's like 9 days away.
Yeah. Next
We
week.
could come back in 2 weeks and just look completely dumb, and Dortmund just dominated.
Whoa.
But there's like, it's just. That's like the darkest timeline for you, pretty much. Like that just won't happen. Like,
dude,
I don't know.
I think, bro, I'm gonna be honest, man. Tony Cruz retiring, man. Dude,
Damn, dude.
I got the notification at work, bro, and I broke down, man. I mean, if you know me, you know I'm an emotional person. I cry over everything. But, bro, like reading the tweet and then seeing his post on Instagram, I was like, yo, what? It caught me off guard. There was rumors last year that he was going to retire. There was rumors the year before that when we won the Champions League that he was going to retire, but it's actually happening, and it's stupid weird, bro.
What a legend, though. Imagine, look, I'm just going to throw this out there. Like, so who was like your star midfield with him, like paired with him?
What do you mean,
Was
like,
it
right?
Modric? Like,
It was-
Cruz and who else?
It was, well, the big three was Cruz, Casemiro, Modric, and then Casemiro got sold, and then obviously Modric came off the bench this year.
And
then
how long was Cruz with y'all?
10 years. We signed him July, I think it was 17 or 19. July 17, because it was the day after or before my birthday, 2014.
Yeah.
Because he won the World Cup July 11th, and then a week later, and we signed him. So 10 years, bro.
I will say it's interesting that like almost all the time now we see players at least 1 or 2 years go kind of chase money, whether it's MLS, Saudi Arabia or something, before they retire. It's kind of crazy that he just was like, nah, I'm good. I want to finish here, and just finished. Like, he just retired.
Not to compare him to Zizou, right? But in my lifetime, the only two players I know that have retired while still being good, besides Tom Brady and probably LeBron when he retires, but in football, Cruz and Zidane. Like, Zidane, literally, his last game was the 2006 World Cup final, and then he retired. Obviously, he went out with the red card and everything.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, Cruz right now. But it's so weird that he's going to retire, man. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's very emotional. Like, I don't even want to think about it. He only has one game left, and then, dude, the Euros are in Germany. He's only missing the Euros. Can you imagine Germany wins the Euros?
That's gonna be wild.
Amazing storytelling. Just
Imagine how you're gonna feel whenever that guy over in Miami retires.
bro,
That's gonna be a nightmare for you. That's gonna be the saddest day
dude. Well, not just for me, for football, man.
for everyone.
We're talking
dude,
about,
like,
you're talking about arguably the greatest athlete ever, not just football
Yeah.
player, you know?
like transcended a sport pretty much.
Literally. I'm not going to say he saved the sport, but obviously, like, right now, right? Vinicius has 23 goals and, like, 14 assists, and people think that he shouldn't win the Ballon d'Or. But that's because Ronaldo and Messi, bro, they were going 50 and 10 every single year for 16 years, man. From 2008 to 2018, it was Messi or Ronaldo. 08 was Ronaldo. Then it was Messi. Then Ronaldo. Then Messi. Then Ronaldo. Then Modric in 2018. Like, bro, they set the standards so high that when a player, like Harry Kane right now, he has 40 goals and like 10 assists, and people are like, oh, that's not enough. Like, it's...
Yeah, see, that's what sucks is I didn't get into it till they were both already kind of past that point, like whenever they weren't on the Ballon d'Or run anymore. But like, we'll probably never see two players push each other that much every season like that. Like, because as much as, and I do agree Messi is the GOAT, and as much as you say he's pretty easily better than Ronaldo definitely pushed him to be another level, to be the best. Then Messi pushed Ronaldo, but like they pushed each other, especially because they played on rival teams. Like, you have to push each other, and that's when, looking back on El Clasicos from back then, man,
Dude,
it just seemed unreal. Like,
and I'll be the first to tell you, the YouTube videos do not do it justice.
I
Bro,
bet.
there was one weekend, Eric, that Ronaldo scored a hat trick and Messi scored 4 goals the next day. Like, that's how much they like motivated each other. It
It's
really was
crazy,
that. Yeah. But it's been fantastic to witness. But anyways, Eric, any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
I'm just excited for the finals regardless, assuming Celtics are the ones who make it, which I think is a fairly safe assumption. I think Celtics versus Mavericks or Celtics versus Timberwolves would make for a fantastic finals.
Yeah.
Diyab,
Oh
any
my god.
final thoughts?
If we make it, bro, I don't care if we lose. I don't care if we get swept. We have officially. I think we already shed it already. But like the poverty franchise shit, it's over. That's the past. That is once Glenn Taylor dies or retires or whatever bullshit he's on. Once he's gone, bro, that shit dies with him. We're gonna have KG's jersey in the rafters. He said he's gonna come to a game. Like Minnesota's up because not only is it just like instilling confidence back in this franchise that has been like so fucking depressing. Because literally, when you talk Timberwolves basketball with like Vikings fans, for example, like Minnesota sports fans,
They were calling you a bandwagon.
they called me a bandwagon, bro. I swear to God, I knew who Anthony Edwards was in college when these people were talking about drafting James fucking Wiseman. Like, I don't want to hear shit from that fan base that doesn't know anything about basketball. Oh, Minnesota sports, we're cursed. We're always gonna lose. Like, you know,
Go to hell.
every sports fan has like that little pessimism in their head about like certain things. Like, oh fuck, why'd we draft this guy? Or like this is our coach. But then like you need to have some type of pride because you look sorry as fuck when you're on the timeline fucking pandering to Philly fans. Like, oh, I don't know why he tweeted that. We haven't been as successful as Philly has in the last couple of years. What the fuck is Philly done? What the fuck did they do?
They beat the Raptors. They beat the broken Nets. They beat the Heat with their best player being a 39-year-old D Wade, and that's
literally
it. That's it.
Embiid's,
the Wizards. The Wizards.
Like, bro, that is not successful. And the fact that you're like literally, I swear to God, what we did this season is more impactful than anything. Besides Embiid winning MVP, which congratulations, good for you. You did something finally. Like, whatever. You got your pity MVP. Like, fuck you. But like literally, you play in a conference where Halliburton made the ECF, where fucking Trae Young has made the ECF before you. Fucking Pascal Siakam's been there. OG's been there. Like literally, look at all the players in your own conference that have. Bam has been there. Jimmy has been there. The fact that you can't do it is
Payton Pritchard has been there. My bad.
Yeah, bro, you can add whoever you want at this point. Drew Holiday, fucking Chris Middleton, players that are way worse. And I have all these Philly fans like, oh, he doesn't have any help. He had Tobias Harris. How much help do you need to beat fucking Trae Young? The fact that Trae Young was because I'm going back to that series. Trae Young was shit that game 7. You know who they got gamed by? Kevin fucking Huerter.
Red Velvet.
Kevin
baby.
Huerter, bro. Yeah, Red Velvet. What a goat, man. I miss him already.
Yeah. But ladies and gentlemen,
that's my rant. Fuck Philly.
This has been everything for episode 65. Diyab, thank you for coming on, my brother. Really appreciate you making time for this. I know we're all adults and it's hard for us to find time to talk about sports, but this was a good venting session. But like, share, comment, subscribe. Next week, we have a phenomenal episode on the way where, you know what? I can't even spoil it. Wait till next week, but we'll see you on the next one.